Boom, shakalaka boom. You're tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards, coming at you live here on 103.9 WYAB. Streaming worldwide on the Mazda of Jackson live stream across all the major platforms. The big ones, YouTube, X, Facebook, and Instagram. We are at SaveJXN. We are on Rumble, Twitch, and Kick by typing in Clay Edwards Show. At the end of the day, you can probably find all of them by typing one or the other. Clay Edwards Show or SaveJXN. One of the two, you're going to find it. And on some platforms, you're going to find both of them. Because that's how we roll. We're also on TikTok if you want to follow us there at SaveJXN and at Clay Edwards Show. The at Clay Edwards Show is exclusively clips from this show. At SaveJXN is where you'll find my FAFO videos and whatever kind of other ranting and rambling I choose to do that's not behind the microphone here in this studio. We have a channel on Instagram and a channel on TikTok that is exclusively that. Let's see here. Before we bring in our guest, we got Shaun Yurtkuran back again this morning. I'll introduce him here in just a second. The Ellis Autoplex text line you want to chime in this morning is 769-241-1944. 769-241-1944. And let me see here. The phone line this morning, 601-879-0002. Let's see here. And little Andy listening this morning. Shout out to Andy. She's in the car with her dad listening this morning. You know, we love it when our young listeners are chiming in with us, as always, on the way to school this morning. Should be getting out of school here soon, I hope. So, if not already, what is it, late May? Should be getting out of school here soon. Looks like Shaun may have had a little technical difficulty there on his end. Doing these streams and stuff, it can be a little taxing at times, getting everything set up, but we'll get Shaun back in here right about now. Let's give this a try, see if we got my brother from another mother. And Shaun, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, it's been a little bit. I don't know. That's why I back out and try to back in a little bit better.
Yeah. Can you just log out of yours and start over? And I mean, like, yeah, okay. Close your window out and everything and just come back in?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Yeah, Shaun had a little technical difficulty there. I don't want to do that to you guys. So let me send him a message real quick just to tell him what I think may be the problem real quick here. Make sure you're on correct microphone setting. All right, sorry about that. While we are waiting on Shaun, though, don't fret. Don't wait. Man, I just I saw something last night, because we can burn a little time here. So we're going to talk about the Jackson bribery trial. We had so much yesterday, we just ran out of time. But I want to talk about a couple things here real quick. Can we pour out some liquor for my dead homie? Mark Fuhrman. Y'all remember Mark Fuhrman? Man, the homie died yesterday. That's right. You may remember Mark from the trial. The O.J. Simpson trial. That's right. The OG, Mark Fuhrman, has passed away. Now, you know, obviously, and I'm being a bit facetious here, if it wasn't for that nut job, he probably cost California that trial. Well, I guess it wouldn't be California. It would have been Los Angeles, the DA's office there. Either way, I think he is probably the main reason that O.J. walked free, is because of his ridiculousness. Some call it racism. I don't know if it was racism necessarily. Don't beat me up for saying that. I'm just saying I think sometimes cops can get overzealous and they try to tamper with evidence and do silly stuff like that. Let's see. I think Shaun's ready to come back in here. I would love to get his opinion on this real quick. Let's see here. You there, brother? Hey, you there?
There you go. Yeah, there. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's still doing it, man. You got the right microphone setting on?
It's on the right setting. It's on the right one.
Okay, but there we go. There we go. It had a pop for a second. Hey, while you were away, I was
talking. It's been popping. That's all I think. pop is a thing.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing that. While you were away, I was talking about Mark Fuhrman passing away. You got any memories of Mark Fuhrman during the OJ trial?
Can you say that again?
Do you have any memories of Mark Fuhrman from during the OJ trial?
Oh, God. Yeah, I've read about every book possible trial. Like, yeah, I know quite a bit. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, Mark, it wasn't really Mark Fuhrman. I mean, Fuhrman obviously was the trial, but they knew about a lot of this before they called him as a witness. And Chris Darden was the co-prosecutor in that case, didn't want to call him, and Marcia Clark made the decision to do it for his objection. And there you go, history is written.
Shaun.
Yeah, but they knew a lot of it before they called him, even because they didn't really need him to witness, have gotten in most of the evidence without him at all.
Shaun, we are having major technical difficulties here. Can you just call me?
Yeah, let me see. Okay, you want me to back out again?
Well, you got a bad echo on your end. Do you have an extra channel or something? You know how sometimes it'll have something be up here that ain't supposed to? Any changes made since yesterday? You got something running in the background possibly?
Has that worked? Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I tried that out.
If you
Working.
It's still doing it.
Still doing it. That's weird.
Yeah, so while Shaun is tweaking with that, so yeah, anyway, so Mark Fuhrman passed away yesterday, got that news, and I know Shaun's done so much exhaustive research there on that case with the OJ stuff. He's read every book. I think most of us have. I've at least watched every documentary about it. So I'm just curious, what are your guys' thoughts on Mark Fuhrman passing away? What do you remember most? Maybe not so much about Mark passing away, but what are some of your biggest memories about the OJ trial? We talk about race relations in this country a lot and kind of where they went sideways based on how good they used to be. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. And I think, was it Cat Williams or was it Dave Chappelle? I think brought this up in one of his stand-up years ago. He said, black people, I think, and I may have my wrong stand-up, but one of them said, black people, we celebrated too openly when OJ got off. And I think that was very true. I think that black folks celebrated way too openly, and it really, really got under the crawl of a bunch of people. And it ain't aged well either. Now, obviously I didn't live through the civil rights era. Be the first to tell you. I wasn't alive then. But I was born in 1977 in Mississippi. And obviously I was a kid for a while. And I was protected by my parents from seeing things like most children. But when I became a functioning human being, going to school, working, all of that stuff, man, racism was not a part of my day-to-day life. I did not see it. Now, I had a different existence growing up at my dad's store down on Lynch Street. Being down there all the time, growing up in South Jackson, just one block away from Highway 80. We were in one of those neighborhoods between Raymond Road and Highway 80 off Castile Drive, which connected to Shady Lane. I grew up in a rather diverse area. Even for the 80s in Jackson, I think my part of South Jackson was pretty diverse. So racism just wasn't a thing over there in my bubble. I'll be fair there and say in my bubble, but I went to public school. I went to Wilkins. Then I went to Witten, and I went to a couple other schools in between there, but for the most part, Wilkins for elementary, Witten for public school, and then I went to Byram. I said Witten for middle school, and then Byram for high school, and then Hines Community College. So I was around a lot of black people. I don't remember racism towards black people. I remember being bullied and all that stuff by black folks on the bus and everything. And I know somebody goes, oh, that's why you don't like black people. That's why you don't like black people. I don't dislike black people. I don't get tired of having to tell you all that. I don't like black culture rot. There's a big difference. Every black person doesn't participate in culture rot. It's just the culture rot from in that community that people make excuses for that I hate. But anyway, that aside, back to this. I think that it got in a lot of people's crawl when people were celebrating OJ getting off for killing those two folks. It became about race. and all of that stuff. And, that gets played consistently. That footage is on the internet forever. And you look at the age groups of a lot of those people celebrating, those are people in school. Them weren't people that lived through the civil rights era. Those are people in schools in California and those liberal places on earth. You constantly hear about how racist the Republican South is. But what's funny is a lot of this footage you watch of people celebrating a black man getting off for killing two white folks. Those cameras were in classrooms in California, liberal California, which that kind of goes into what I've been saying forever, if true. If they experienced so much racism there in California and Los Angeles in the 80s and 90s, such as like you hear about NWA talking about how racist the LAPD was and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and all that stuff. I could say, I guess my defense for that would be, liberal controlled California. I know they've had a Republican governor here and there, but obviously California's very liberal. You don't just go as far left as California has gone the last 20 years and not have already been liberal to begin with. I mean, look at San Francisco. Look at Los Angeles in the 60s and 70s. It was already very liberal. Got a text in. I don't know if you want me to say his name or not, but on the Ellis Autoplex text line says, "Yup, Fuhrman and the glove cost L.A. the case. Remember, Mark was on the scene at a domestic at O.J.'s house. He told Nicole that if she didn't leave, he'd kill her. Talk about foreshadowing. They made him the boogeyman." All right, let's try Shaun one more time. We got a text. He says it's working, so let's pull Shaun back in. My brother from another mother. Shaun, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. What was it?
It's the, the USB extender, like you can put a bunch of USBs into one extension thing.
I got one
here. You can't do that. You have to plug them in separately, and this is ridiculous. Just something so ticky-tacky like that.
Look, I'm telling y'all, Shaun has the same mixer at his house, basically has the same home setup I do, except he uses an Apple computer instead of a Windows, but we use the same mixer and a lot of the same equipment and stuff. And y'all would be amazed at how difficult it can be, but it's always something so little. Like we were talking about our wireless mice. We can do a whole show about it. I ain't going to bore y'all with it.
Shaun, it's like kicking the old TV when you used to kick something. Oh, now it works. It's kind of like that.
It is. Exactly like that. I got an electric razor I got from Amazon a few weeks ago, or a month or two ago, and I charged it, used it one time, and then it wouldn't work again. So I decided to bang it on the counter, and magically it started working. It was the old hit it with a hammer thing, and boom, it started working. I was like, you got to be kidding. All right. We need to go to break, but I want to hear your take on this Mark Fuhrman because I want to leave this subject in this segment when we move forward. Yeah. Give us your thoughts on kind of lasting legacy of Mark Fuhrman through Shaun Yurtkuran's eyes.
Well, I think, like I was saying before the technical difficulties, Mark, I blame the prosecution because they knew about it, and give credit to Chris Darden because they wanted Chris to question him because they wanted to make it look, a black prosecutor's questioning the guy they knew that was racist. And he was like, I'll do it, but I'm telling you, this is a bad idea. And he got so mad about it that they said, okay, well, you don't have to do it. And then they did it anyway. And he was like, don't do it. And there you go. But of course, they told him not to get OJ to trial in the glove, and that was his idea, and they did that, and we all know how that worked out. So
worked out very well, very well. Yeah. All right, well, rest in peace, Mark Fuhrman, one of the most iconic figures in pop culture history, I would say, right?
Pretty much.
Maybe most infamous figures in pop culture history.
He is.
All right, let's take our first break, come back, and we're going to jump in with Shaun. We got a lot of stuff that we didn't get to chat about yesterday concerning the Free the Land 3. And their Jackson bribery trial. And if you missed yesterday's show, we have now coined Jody Owens, Chakwe Antar Lumumba, and Aaron Banks as the Free the Land, Free the People, the Free the Land 3. I needed a name for them. I got tired of saying all their names at the same time. So we're going to talk about that and more. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran, 103.9 WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 B, streaming worldwide on a Mazda Jackson live stream. If you have a business out there, you're interested in partnering up with the Clay Edwards Show or any other great shows here on WYAB, reach out to me, clay@wyab.com. We've got two big partnership spaces available here with the Studio Partnership or the phone line. So reach out to me. There's some price differences there between the two. I would just tell you, this is somebody's looking to make a big splash. It is a hefty investment, but there's a big ROI on that investment if you take advantage of all the opportunities that those partnerships offer. They are way more than just 30-second commercials and me saying, welcome back to the ... studios. So reach out to me. Let me know if it's something you want to talk about. Looking for established brick and mortar businesses or services, business services, stuff like that. Just established businesses that want to make a big impact and a big splash. We're getting their names out there. So clay@wyab.com. All right, Shaun Yurtkuran. Hey, real quick, Shaun, before we go any further,
yeah.
McBee's Bar and Grill today. It is Tuesday. That's beef tips and rice day. That's their most popular plate lunch. So guys, get there. They open at 11. Lunch is served until 2. Right there on the reservoir, one of Shaun and I's favorite restaurant. We hosted a sports show there every Saturday, not this past football season, but football a year and a half ago. And look, I miss it, Shaun. I miss eating those burgers.
Yeah, it was fun.
Those burgers on Saturday mornings. Good stuff there, brother. We really need to bring that back this year. I really.
And when you're old, you can drink early, and then you got an excuse to go to sleep early. Because like now these days, I don't like to stay out that late on Saturday nights.
Man, there's
so it's like, I'm done drinking at 4.
Man, with the new UFC deal in Paramount, there's a fight every Saturday night. If it ain't UFC, it's boxing. If it ain't boxing, it's WWE. If it ain't WWE, it's the MVP, the Jake Paul promotion that just did the Ronda Rousey fight on Netflix. There's combat sports, and I love them all, every Saturday night. I don't need to go out. I mean, I've got everything I need right at my house. So,
I know. That's it. So it's nice to do I appreciate day drinking now at this age more than I did before. So.
I've always been a fan of the day drinking. I don't do it as much as I'd like to, obviously, because I'm an adult. But
yeah, right.
But I do have fond memories of day drinking and going to sleep and then trying to go back out that night. St. Patty's Day.
Now that I could not do anymore.
No, not at all.
I used to do that too.
Not at all. All right, Shaun. So I don't have the image to pull up here, so we'll just pull up my generic image of the Free the Land 3 here. And chat, people on the Mazda Jackson live stream, we will pull y'all's chats back up on the screen. Keep on coming. I got Shaun here for an hour and a half this morning. We got Andrew going to be here at 8 also, so we'll have a threesome. Not that kind of dimmies.
No.
We'll have a threesome here after the 8 o'clock hour for a little bit. But there's a funny line that you sent me concerning the Free the Land 3 here and Jody Owens. And there's a famous line where Jody had mentioned that he said, no, they're not feds. It's okay. I vetted them. Well, we were kind of wondering, how did he vet them, right? Well, what's the guy's name? Smith? What's his first name?
Yeah, Marve. So Marve Smith was his friend that he was kind of doing the deal with. I think he was some sort of insurance salesman, Jackson businessman. And he pled guilty like right at the beginning of this, if you remember. And I'm assuming that's because he was turning, he's flipping. So, and obviously he is by this motion that you read. So the government wrote a motion, and in one of the footnotes when they're talking about Jody saying, I've vetted these guys, I've checked them out, it says, witness Marve Smith, or according to him, Owens ran the license plates of one of the developers. So like essentially what he's thinking is that the FBI was going to register their undercover people's cars to the FBI.
I know, I love it. I mean, it's
so ridiculous that I just can't even,
This is your DA of Hinds County.
I mean, that's almost like something that you would see in in Idiocracy or something. It's that stupid.
Naked Gun.
Thank you. That's a better reference. That's a much better reference.
I mean, that's Naked Gun. Thinking. It's like a spoof movie of the It's like a buddy cop movie. That's a spoof on top of it being a buddy cop movie, like The Rock and Kevin Hart or something here. Which one's
exactly.
Which one's Jody?
It reminds me of that movie like Pain and Gain.
Oh, I love that
Mark
movie.
Wahlberg.
That's a true story too.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Jody and Chuckway could be the guys from Pain and Gain. That's kind of where when I read that, I was thinking, Clay, like, how could you how would you be that dumb to run think the FBI would just, we pulled it back. It's registered to the FBI. J. Edgar Hoover Building, Washington, D.C. What the hell?
Well, but obviously he knows how they do things undercover in Jackson, just assumed that the feds did it the same way.
Right. Anyway, I was like, God. So basically what that'll tell you, I think, is that this was like the stupidest run criminal scheme ever, basically. Well, not ever. There's a lot of them, but this is pretty bad. When that's like this is the
stupidest run high level.
Yeah, high level. Thank you. It's just because you would think if somebody's a DA, the mayor, council people, that you've got some reasonably intelligent people that would be able to do a better job than your average criminal off the street. I'm telling you what, the guys in certain parts of Jackson would know not to do that. I can tell you that. You know that just as well as I do. They wouldn't run the tag and be like, yeah, guess what? It didn't come back to the FBI.
It's asinine, man. It is asinine. All right, so Shaun, there was a lot to unpack yesterday that we didn't get to all of. That was just one of the things. Some of that low hanging fruit.
It's too funny not to mention
that we missed, and so I don't remember if we hit this yesterday. So I'll start here, and then you feel free to take it from wherever you want after this.
Sure.
But yeah, we did kind of hit this, but let's refresh it. They have basically already pled guilty, right? Not pled guilty, but they've admitted that they did this based on the defenses they've chosen to take. With Chokwe's being entrapment, Jody's being they took advantage of me being an alcoholic. And we actually have an exclusive photo here, by the way, of Jody being offered some of the White Claws by the undercover agent that he's accused of getting him drunk and taking advantage of his. This is a real photo, by the way. This is not sarcasm. Apparently, is this an undercover?
This is in his motion.
Is this the undercover agent here, I guess?
Or the informant, one of the two. I'm not exactly sure.
One of the two. So this is them. Where are they at in this photo? Do we know?
I think that's in Nashville, I believe. That was in his motion initially that he had released and then got sealed, I think, later on.
Yeah,
I think
for those on radio,
that's Nashville.
For those on radio and for those watching on the Mazda Jackson live stream, what you're looking at here or not able to see is it's like a cooler, and you open it up, and it looks like a cooler inside a convenience store or something, but it looks like they're in maybe a conference room, maybe. It's really kind of hard.
Something like that.
Yeah,
right.
but it's got rows and rows and rows of different alcoholic beverages to choose from, and like this dude who fits the part. I guess they call central casting and said we needed a developer out of Nashville, but to me it's more like 80s Nashville because he looks like a bad guy in Dukes of Hazzard more than anything. A cowboy hat and kind of.
I was thinking of Urban Cowboy.
Yeah,
that's
Urban
what I
Cowboy.
thought when I saw that guy.
Dallas, something like that. But it seems like a guy that it's just the fact that these guys okey-doked. That's what's happened here. Jody got okey-doked.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and actually, let me to back up. So Jody is claiming entrapment.
Yes.
Chokwe is not. What he's saying is that what he did wasn't even bribery because it wasn't an official act, and that it was campaign contributions to gain political influence and that kind of thing that all politicians do. That's essentially the crux of his defense, or where it's going. He didn't explicitly state it that way, but that's where it's going. It's going to be that this was not bribery. It was campaign donations, part of the political process. It's a little different than what Jody's is.
Interesting. So what else did you see in there that piqued your interest? Because you read through all this.
Man, there is so much. I mean, so the thing about it with entrapment, what Jody's going to argue is that you got to have the government's got to. It's a two-pronged test. The government's got to induce you, and then you have to be predisposed, right? And so Jody, since it's what's called an affirmative defense, is going to have to prove that those things happened, that he was induced by the government. That's the drunkety drunk part with the White Claw and the Truly in the photo, and that he was not predisposed to commit any crime. And predisposition can be like, were you readily engaged in the crime too? The courts have said that. So we talked about this a little yesterday. I mean, Jody was, I think you said it, Jody was the MVP. I mean, he went the distance on this case, even so far as to have or suggest to Marve Smith to have sex with one of the city officials to gain influence and information. So, I mean, so I think if you're going to look at it, did he have predisposition? You can just look at his actions and his ready compliance with the thing. And then there's also other evidence about like PPP loan fraud that they're investigating. So I think he's not going to be able to meet that standard either. He's not going to be able to say, I'm not predisposed to commit these kind of criminal offenses. And his government induced him as they got me drunk, which is absolutely insane. So.
Yeah. We talk about Jody and Chokwe so much. What is Aaron's defense? Do we know?
I don't even know. That's a great question. I've been thinking about, I was talking about that on the Saturday show, and I think I said that Aaron, I don't see why he doesn't just flip. I believe he's only charged with 1 or 2 offenses. He's probably going to get like probation, maybe a little bit of time, and he'd get credit. Well, he'd get what's called substantial cooperation and get reductions. So he probably wouldn't even go to, if you go to like a prison camp or something. So I don't know why he doesn't. I mean, he seems like he's pretty much red-headed caught. Maybe, they might not. What I'm thinking was that they have not, that he is going to flip. They're just not announcing that yet. That's a possibility too.
I tend to lean the same direction as you there. I think he's going to flip. I think you've always told me, I've learned a lot since we hung out. You said, look, here's the deal. When these kind of things happen, it's a race to the courthouse. Who's going to flip first? Because he who gets there first gets the best deal. Well, yeah. Smith and Angelique Lee got there first.
Right, correct. Yeah, they were there. They were there on the front end. I guess the feds knew who they could pick off quickly.
Marve Smith and Angelique Lee, former city councilwoman, they crossed the finish line first. I'm guessing they probably got about the same deal, depending on how deep their involvement was. And then you got these 3 that have been holding out. And I mean, it's gonna. Chokwe's holding out so much that it feels like to me he's holding out for the best deal possible. And I'm just looking at all this, and I don't know that they need it based on the evidence that's available. I mean, sure, I guess it's sometimes better to take what you can get instead of going to trial, but they're trying them all. They're trying all 3 together. So unless Jody takes the deal, I still see it going to trial. I'm working it through my head. Chokwe is so arrogant and thinks, because he goes out in the community and he hangs out and people pump his head full of stuff. Man, you innocent dog, and I think he believes the hype. I truly do.
And I'm not saying I disagree with that, but I would say this, and I was thinking about this early this morning. If he goes to trial and if Jody goes to trial, which I'm giving the likelihood that Jody goes to trial way more heavier than Chokwe.
Yeah.
But if either one of them decide to go to trial, it's just based on delusions and arrogance, not on the facts and the available defenses that they have. So like they're not basing this on anything in reality. They're acting like the criminal defendant that is, there's DNA, he's confessed, and he's on video, and he still wants a trial. Like they're just being delusional. So because there's no way, because they don't have valid defenses to this at all, and that's the only way. So like, assuming they do what you do, and I think that's a very good chance that could, but that would be the only reason they go to trial. That's why I guess if I'm thinking like a logical person, if I'm Chokwe, I'm like, okay, now the judge did not dismiss the case. Time for me to work with the feds and testify against Jody. I'm not going to get that much time probably, and he looks way worse than I do. So that would be the smart play. Now, whether he does that or not, I guess is another question.
All right, let me float this idea, and then we'll go to break. Or you can respond, and then we'll go to break. So, or no, it's not an idea. It's more of a prediction. If Chokwe flips, I predict that Jody's team begs for a deal and takes whatever they offer.
I could see that. That will push him. I mean, that's going to be a lot more pressure on him. But also, when you think about this, it's all, like you said a second ago, what more do they need, right? Like everything's on video, everything's recorded. I mean, they've got everything as tight as it is, but that would solidify it. And like if Chokwe were to testify, hey, yes, this was a bribery scheme. The district attorney and I had those conversations, some that were not recorded, et cetera, then it would be even tighter. And I think his entrapment defense his entrapment defense is not going to work anyway, but that would make it even less likely.
Well, here's the only reason why I think Chokwe doesn't flip, other than just arrogance. Mm-hmm. He is ate up with the culture. The free the land culture, the black for a living culture, just all that stuff that he's a part of. And like I know, Shaun, that very little is frowned upon more in the urban black community than snitching.
It's not good. I mean, you're right. That is an issue.
It is up there. It is up there with pedophilia and. Well, really, that's about it. It is
pedophilia or snitching, like either one. You're done.
Murder seems to be okay. Killing granny while you're out drunk driving seems to be okay. Everything else is just a cost of doing business. But if you snitch and you mess with a kid, like those are the two lines in the sand. And I can agree with one of them. The other one, not so much. And just so we're on the same page here, I don't agree with snitching not being I don't agree with snitching being so important in that community. Or so frowned upon, should I say? Because I think that these streets around here would be a lot safer if more people would snitch. All right, so look, you guys, if you got any questions, fire them off in the Mazda Jackson live stream comment section. You can text me at Ellis on the Ellis Autoplex text line at 769-241-1944. When we come back, we're going to read your questions and maybe hit a couple other Jackson topics. Shaun, I got some good stuff for us this morning if you want to stick around for a little bit.
Yeah,
all
good.
Right, all right, I'll give you all a teaser. The Hilton Hotel is for sale, and I talked to a bar owner yesterday, and you're not going to believe what the Jackson Police Department is telling him he needs to do about security outside that he's not responsible for. Y'all are gonna realize just how screwed Jackson is when we get back, if you didn't already know.
God bless.
All right, we'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Streaming worldwide on the Mazda Jackson live stream, as always, across all your favorite social media platforms. If you miss any of the show live, you can always go back and watch it on demand on any of those live social media platforms, Facebook, X, YouTube, Rumble, Instagram. Oh, let me close Facebook out there. I do apologize. So anyway, it's available everywhere. So check that out. Real quick, this segment brought to you by our friends over at, man, how about my buddy right downstairs here, Mr. Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance Agent Extraordinaire, my insurance agent, as a matter of fact. Good guy, got me taken care of. Man, like I said, I didn't have to use him the other day, but I was worried I was going to when that flood came in my house, and luckily I was able to, it stopped before it got any worse. When power got back on, I was able to bust out the shop vac and get it taken care of. But had I not been able to, if the power had been off overnight and that water had to set, I would have, on those hardwood floors, I would have definitely been using my insurance agent for sure. But look, I tell y'all real quick, I rent my home. I haven't bought a home yet. And I got some renter's insurance, and man, it was really affordable. I don't want to tell you all my business out there as far as what I pay, but, with having a car insurance policy and my renter's insurance and everything together, I save a good bit of money on my insurance with Jamie Creel. And I'm just telling you, this is a personal deal here. And the other thing, there's nothing better than being able to pick up the phone and text or call your local insurance agent when you got a problem, not having to call an 800 number and get some Pakistani on the line somewhere. Nope, nothing against Pakistanis, but there's a language barrier there. And having to hit 2 and dial 3 for English and whatever else you got to do to try to put a claim in. And, I like that personal human-to-human relationship when it comes to my insurance, and frankly, everything for that matter. And Jamie and his staff at both offices in Ridgeland and Flora take care of just that for me and all of their other clients. So reach out to them today. Let them see what they can save for you, especially if you're a small business owner that has a fleet of vehicles. I mean, he is saving people $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year on their small to mid-sized businesses just on their vehicle insurance. If you haven't pulled over on the side of the road right now to call Jamie Creel, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. Google it today. Shelter Insurance Agent, Jamie Creel. Give him a shout and let him see what he can do for you. All right, Shaun Yurtkuran. Shaun, do you have a local agent or do you use a national agent?
It's called, now I've got USAA.
Oh, okay. Well, they're good too. They are, especially, the benefits they offer, guys like you, veterans and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, all right, look, Shaun. So, real quick here, let me pull this image up so people know we're not lying, because I like to back things up with facts. Facts, Jack. All right, here we go. So, broke this story last night. It appears that the Hilton on County Line is up for auction, and looks like it's going to be starting at. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you here. This ain't a bad. I see this, and it's not a bad price in my opinion. $1.8 million. That's a big property right there at an exit, and it's a nice hotel. It's been taken care of. You got that big buffet restaurant, inside there that you could be making more money on than they are by running a buffet restaurant right there. I just think it's got a lot of untapped resources there. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of conventions and stuff coming to Jackson anymore where people need that hotel. They've, Rankin County built that Sheraton out there in Flowood, and it's got the big convention center attached to it. And a lot of these hotels have these large convention centers attached to them now throughout the state, not just in Jackson or the Tri-County area, should I say. And it's made being a draw more difficult. There's no concerts at the Coliseum anymore. that pull people to town for out-of-towners to need somewhere to stay. And a lot of little pop-up hotels everywhere. Prada, Mr. Prada, I'll make sure I say his name right. He bought the old Drury Inn and has redone it. It's nice. So I don't know, $1.8 million doesn't seem like a lot. Now I'm sure the property taxes and all that are through the roof on this thing, but I don't know. I just look at it. But the Hilton is available. It's up and running now. Just by the way, it is not closed. They're selling a functioning business here. I don't know if it would remain a Hilton. If it's owned by a group. A lot of times, for those that don't know, the Hilton might not own this directly. It could be owned by a Patel, for example, and they just license the Hilton name. So I'm not sure if you get the Hilton with it. But Shaun, what do you think about just what's happened to County Line Road over the last 10 years? It's a shell of what it once was. It's crazy to think about it.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, actually. I was just driving on County Line Road last week, and I was trying to get to a certain part of Ridgeland anyway. You know how you're just conditioned over the years to avoid County Line because it used to, you go in there and you'd sit forever.
Yep.
And that day I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to get on it. It was faster than going the other way down 51 because it wasn't, there's not as much traffic as there used to be back years ago. Like you get on County Line, you were backed up. I think we all remember the Christmas traffic on County Line Road, how horrific all that was. But now, if you get on County Line Road, the thing moves pretty quickly. So I was driving on. I was like, God bless, man, this is completely changed over the years. But to your point about that building, 1.8 million, have you read about that guy, the Indian guy that's been buying all these buildings downtown, that Kumar Bafaznavi or something, I believe his name is?
No,
he got the Pinnacle building for $10. It wasn't that. It was the kinds of money that he's bought, four or five buildings.
I did read
downtown.
about the Pinnacle building selling and him going in and kind of doing some work on it. They got a big law firm to move back in from the suburbs back down there, I believe. So I did see that story.
Yeah, he bought that. He bought the deposit guarantee building, I think. He bought the electric building, and then there was another one. It's 4 buildings that he got for, I think, under $1.5 million. It was, just something that you're like, God bless, man. Somebody pay for that for a single family home nowadays.
Well, here's one of the biggest problems downtown right now, and it was the King Edward was the eyesore forever until they got it redone. Now the big eyesore is going to be that other building right there with the big glass atrium area. It's
the one on Lamar Street.
The corner of Lamar and Capitol. It had a Bank Plus down in the lobby.
Yeah, there was a law firms in there too. Right, it's right across from the old Gorilla's Cafe, the cafe across the street. Right there,
the parking garage. One Jackson
Yeah.
Place is across Pinnacle. I guess now is across the street from it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Sure.
Well, so they've talked about making it a grocery store over the years and a mixed use development and all of this stuff. And back during the February of 21 ice storm, one of the main pipes broke in that building and just went unchecked for weeks. And it's destroyed, basically. The amount of work that's going to take to go in to fix that building, I don't know if they're going to have to give it away. I think the city owns that building now, maybe the state. And they had talked about maybe putting some low-income apartments in there. That's what downtown needs, is some they call it affordable housing. But yeah, that's what a downtown needs that you're trying to rejuvenate, is low-income housing. My God, let's just go ahead and put a bullet in it now. But anyway, so
yeah, I think Richard Swartz had bought some of that or rented. I know a lot of his lawyers were moving in there now. I remember that whole story, and then that happened, and they all had to move out. So there was the Landmark when that ice storm came. You're talking about.
Yeah, thank you, Jay Craig. The Landmark building. I can just
never
remember the name of it. All right, we got to take another break. Shaun, you're going to stick with me for another segment or so at the top of the hour there. All right, guys, we are on radio time here, so we got to take another break. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Be for about another 40 seconds. Well, minute and 40 seconds here. When we come back, we're going to have Andrew Gosser. I've got him queued up here. We got Shaun Yurtkuran and myself. And, of course, we got all your live stream stuff. We're going to hit your comments, see what questions you guys had. And who knows where this conversation will go here for the next 30 minutes or so while we still have Shaun with us this morning. Man, I love a good round table. We hadn't had a round table in a while. So, going to be a good time. Let's see here if we got any comments we can hit here in the next minute before we go to break. And then ain't just me running my mouth to burn time. Let's see. Man, you got some long text here. It says Johnny says, as for the three clown circus, I feel like it depends on the mood of the judge. Well, I guess it'll be more so the mood of the jury, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to matter what they. I mean, I said this too, and Clay, you'll actually kind of identify with this, especially this station, a lot of the listeners. The juror that you're going to have to get to hang this case up is going to be somebody that really distrusts the government, which is a lot of people, and legitimately, I think we'd all agree on that.
Let me just look at the Ted DiBiase Jr. trial. I mean, this is not a race or political thing. They come after everybody.
Right, and that's the so you're going to have to that's going to be that person specifically in this under this fact scenario. But with DiBiase though, he didn't. I know I've heard back channel that Jody and them are comparing. It's not factually similar to me at all. Like DiBiase actually did the work.
We're up against the break here. We're up against the break. We'll be right back in 7 minutes. Don't go nowhere. So swing by, check them out today. And of course, don't forget they have pre-owned vehicles as well. And all the new Mazdas come with a 1 year of free basic maintenance. You can't beat that. Mazda Jackson, locally owned, locally operated. All right, Shaun Yurtkuran, Andrew Gosser. Everybody do a mic check for me.
Yep.
All right, good. We are here. We got y'all three on the screen, and we got the folks over there in the live chat. I'm going to get to the live chat questions and comments here in just a second. But, guys, I talked to a bar owner yesterday. And I don't mean like a nightclub owner. I mean like a nice, Shaun, you know who it is. I don't want to say his name, but it's a mutual friend of ours. Owns a bar out there in North Jackson. Good dude. Has survived through the thick and thin of running an establishment in Jackson. Has had to, one of his original demographic kind of quit coming and is kind of took over by another demographic, and that's fine. He's just like I am when the black crowd took over. We didn't shut down like a lot of white-owned businesses did. We say, hey, we'll convert and we'll just roll with it, man, because, hey, I like people and I like money. So let's roll with it. And he's done that. And, so many other businesses have chosen not to, but it's like he's experiencing what I experienced in Jackson is, really the city doesn't care. When you're in business in Jackson, you're in business against Jackson. That's how the city looks at you a lot of times, especially when you're in the entertainment business for some reason. It's like you're taking money off their plate. It doesn't make any sense to me, but they're the hardest city to do business with is the city of Jackson.
Clay, can I interrupt for one moment because I'm going through that right now? So you know how I moved over to Congress Street, which is kind of right behind George Street, the bar and all that stuff on Congress. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking to you about getting a sign. I need because it's a house that my office is in, and I need a sign. You have to go through get a sign permit from the city. You know how long this has taken so far? About 60 weeks. Days, and it's still not done.
Wow. See, I was going to say 6 weeks, so 60 days.
I mean, okay. Like what could take so long? It's a sign. I mean, it's a sign.
Most cities have a department where you go in and it's a one-stop shop, and they'll send somebody over. They'll check you'll submit your plans for the sign. They'll approve it or deny it or tell you what you need to do to get in compliance. Or normally you could just get what they require in advance, have the sign designed to fit those numbers, and boom, shakalaka. It's just that easy. But so somebody with JPD reached out to him because there was a shooting in his parking lot. And then over the weekend, there was a unfortunate murder in the same parking lot. And, here's the sad thing about, I want to tell you about the murder real quick. A black girl, innocent black girl, had just graduated high school last year, is my understanding. This wasn't like a regular nightclub party. This was a high school graduation party, like post-graduation party. It's not sponsored by the high school, but the parents sometimes will put an event together, and for the high school, it's for I think maybe Canton or one of the Madison County high schools, something like that. Anyway, so they kick a kid out of the other bar around there. They kick a kid out. They get him to his car. They think they got him calmed down and everything. Well, he's not. He goes to the car. A 17, 18-year-old kid goes to the car, maybe 19, gets a gun and starts spraying. Well, it may have been one or two other people shooting, but I know one was shooting. He shoots two innocent people and shoots and kills a third of a girl that was sitting in her car that had just graduated high school the year before. So just teen culture rot. But you can't plan for that. As a business, you cannot plan for somebody. Once they get in their car, there's nothing you can do. You have no control of that situation anymore. If they choose to get out and shoot, it's out of your control. No amount of security is going to fix that as far as like rent-a-cops go. Now, you put some blue lights in the parking lot, that can be a bit of a dissuader in that. But outside of that, no amount of guys with black shirts that say security on them is going to prevent somebody once they decided that it's gun time. So here's what the new chief of police wants these bars and nightclubs to do. She wants them to all get more security or off-duty officers to work on their dime, and wants the city to have less of an involvement in these things. And look, I had a lot of security at my places. We spent a lot of money on security because it was, in the long run, it was cheaper than the liability of being sued and whatnot. And we never had a shooting. And just also I don't ever want somebody to die in my facility. I mean, I don't want that. I don't want that on me, you know, the knowing that I used to get mentally rewarded a serotonin boost when one of my ideas converted over to a packed nightclub. I would hate to know that one of my ideas led to somebody's death. Yeah. Like that would just suck it right out of me as far as ever wanting to promote a party again or anything, you know? So we put a lot of effort into security, but we were in downtown Jackson. You know, once people got outside, there was nothing I could do to protect them anymore. That's a public sidewalk. And we weren't even allowed to really put security out there because it was a public sidewalk and liability issues and concerns and stuff like that. Now, we still did, you know, but there's only so much you could do. I mean, there was times after hours because of our security would roughhouse somebody. They come back, they shot our windows out. We've had people leave and get killed by drunk drivers from another bar. I'll never forget that. A guy left 105 and went up to the end of Capitol Street, the top of Capitol Street at the old Capitol, was turning left. A drunk driver came through, T-boned him and killed him. Our customer was sober. Because trust me, we went to court over all this, you know, and they didn't. Yeah. We weren't liable for anything, but we still had to use our insurance to pay for the lawyers to go to court. So of course it's still a claim. But anyway, that's the only time that anybody left my bar and lost their life. But there was nothing I could do about that. And I still felt guilty about that because he left my place. And if we had just not opened that night, would he still be alive? You know, you just run these things through your head. But circling back to the chief of police, you know, she wants these facilities, these businesses to pay for these, to pay for more officers. And I get that to an extent. You know, when we're talking about maybe a standalone business, you know, somewhere,
like a gas station or something.
Yeah, a gas station or a bar that's on a standalone building in a parking lot somewhere. But we're talking about a strip mall. So why should bar A have to have security to offset bar B not having security? Because there's like 3 or 4 bars in this place. Now, I'll be honest with you, all these bars have plenty of security. I'm just going to tell y'all know who I'm talking. We're talking about Capitol Grill. We're talking about the Hideaway over there in DeVille Plaza. And they both run those places really well. Pete over at the Hideaway. What's our buddy's name that has the bar in front of the Hideaway? Weldon. He does a great job at 4th and Goal. And then Lance and his team down at Capitol Grill. These are the guys you won't run in a bar in Jackson.
I mean, I go to Capitol Grill during football season. Obviously, it's really, you know, it's a sports bar, but man, then they got great food. It's a really nice place. It sucks for them that this happened.
It's chef's quality food. This is not.
It really is. It's really good. It's really, but yeah.
It's gourmet sports bar food. I mean, I'm on record, and they're not a sponsor, but they got the best pizza I've ever had in my life at Capitol Grill.
I tell people that all the time about their food. I'm like, no, really, the food there's terrific. You know, it like the I'm going to use that gourmet sports bar food. That's what it is.
It's it. I mean, it's chef's level. It's Michelin quality sports bar food. I mean, it truly is. I mean, that's how much effort they put into it. And, you know, these problems didn't happen inside these bars. They got the problems outside. The shooting that happened at Capitol Grill in the parking lot, that guy had never even been inside Capitol Grill. But here Lance is taking a beating. Business has been down dramatically since this happened. And what is he supposed to do? A guy shows up. Yeah, you know, and also something I got made aware of. Did you know, remember back during COVID or after COVID, Chockway signed an executive order to allow open containers in Jackson. Basically, you can walk out of a bar with a drink. Now, the bar doesn't have to allow this, by the way. But what it has done is apparently, this is after talking to a couple of bar owners, it's entitled people to think, well, I can just drink out in your parking lot, and you can't do nothing about it. So, because normally you could say, hey, you can't drink. Yes, I can. Well, first off, this is private property, and we make the rules on this private property. Yep. But, the culture don't like being told what to do. So it's just creating a cluster F. And, like whose responsibility is it to keep the people out of the parking lot? Should JPD have some involvement in this if they want to, keep crime down? I get it. I get that it's not necessarily the city's responsibility to pay for the bar security. But if the bar is already paying for the security inside, who should be, how much is enough outside?
Police in the parking lot, right? I mean, that's what you're kind of, like that, just the outside area. Like somebody needs to be controlling what's going on. I tell you what, I was listening at the break, the news break, and the announcement was that the new chief was investing a bunch of money in a study to the causes of crime.
Oh, another study. And they love those studies.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I mean, are we not past the point of that here where we're going to dump money into a study we know that crime is getting caused. Right now, it's the enforcement stage. Once you're in the enforcement stage, you need to curb it and get it under control. Then we can worry about what causes it later. Because I don't think, those are different there's so many factors to that. There's a completely different implementation process to stop that on the front end. But right now, we need to focus on enforcement and to save businesses, to save people's lives, and so on and so forth. But I thought that this is just not the right time for that in the condition the city's in.
No, we know what causes. We're beyond the root cause of these problems. Yeah. We know what the root cause is, and you're not going to fix that. You're not going to fix this generation. The only way this generation gets fixed is through hard knocks and being thrown in jail and getting in the system and staying in jail as long as possible. We're in the preventative phase here. And how do we prevent it? It's with heavy police presence.
Yeah, that's about it. I think also, when we were just talking about the first hour, with the district attorney's office, the DA is under federal indictment. The previous DA, my former boss, was under a state court indictments. When you have that kind of thing going on in even the criminal justice system, and you're talking about, well, we need to study what the causes of crime. Well, apparently the crime is happening everywhere, the high levels of government to the street level. So what right now we need to do is focus on the heavy police presence, which I think all you got to do is look at Belhaven and Fondren and see what's happened there and the growth there and the safety in there because of Capitol Police. Let's get that under control. And then we can start doing all these studies and academic bullcrap or whatever you want to do. But nobody wants to talk about like the enforcement phase. Like that just needs to be done right now. And once, I always say we don't get to have fun things right now. This is not fun time.
So we got a commenter here that says all cities, business owners pay for police detail work. TO patrol the parking lots, Clay. What is TO patrol? What, to private security, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, but to that I say, well, these businesses pay taxes, so they're entitled to the taxes, to the services these cities offer. When the business owners pay their taxes to the city, they pay their property tax, they pay their sales tax, they are entitled to city services just like a homeowner. So if they call the cops, that means their asses need to come. Police need to be a little, there is such thing as proactive policing as well. If you got a hot spot, if you're a cop and you know that there's a strip mall with more than one or two bars in it, or even a bar, if it's a popular bar, it behooves you to have a presence there, driving through the parking lot. I'm not saying park there all night, but you need to drive through once an hour-ish or more, especially when you're right around the corner from a precinct. And let's be honest, there's a precinct right around the corner from DeVille Plaza there.
There is. Yeah.
We're not talking about a big...
It's right there.
Yeah, we're not talking about a big out-of-the-way deal here.
Yeah.
And just keep it simple, man. Just kind of ride through, have a presence. No, it's not their responsibility to park there all night and be parking lot security. That is not what I'm suggesting. But I am saying that you can be a little preventative, have a presence, and do what you can to be business friendly. Like, look, we know that there's a crime problem over there. Let's do what we can to salvage that last little strip of retail success in Jackson.
Clay, let me ask you this: the whole you've been over there, the brewery in Belhaven with me in that whole area, and now they do you think that would have been possible had Capitol Police not come into an existence? that whole district there they got with Rowans and everything? Because I don't think so. I don't think if you didn't have that, the police presence, that wouldn't have become as viable and as successful as it is now. And Capitol Police, they're always got a presence around there. They're parked over there. They gate the street off. I mean, so that seems to be, we're doing it on one part of the city. Why don't we just translate to the other part?
Yeah, I mean, they expanded Capitol Police up to the Kroger on 55, that area. Did it stop there at Ridgewood? I mean, at Old Canton Road?
Yeah, it's before
before
Capitol.
Before
right.
Capitol.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
As far as I know.
And look, Bourbon Diplomacy, and I know what he does. I know what his day job is. Bourbon Diplomacy says JPD doesn't have enough officers to work the streets, much less work bars on their off time. And that's 100% true there.
Oh, that's true. I'm not disputing that. But I mean, can we take the money from the study and go get some more officers?
Well, that's what
can we do that? That would be.
And here's the thing too. I don't know if y'all have ever had to pay an off-duty officer, but first off, they have to have permission to do, if you're doing it right. They have to have permission. You have to do it through JPD. You can't just hire an off-duty cop anymore. They have to have permission. You're talking about $250, $225 a night. We're not talking about cheap here.
Nope.
Well,
it's not cheap.
Well, then, how many does it take for one big parking lot the size of DeVille Plaza there? 2, 3? Because you can't just do one. Because if something pops off, somebody's got to have his back, right? So then you got 2. Well, that's $500. All right. Well, do the bars agree to split it? You can't make somebody do something, and I mean, I know one of those guys, I love them all, but one of those guys is very frugal, and I don't know that he's going to sign off on having to pay another $500 a night for security, because these guys don't make the kind of money people think they make either, but
no.
They didn't. Here's what I'm saying. When these bars were opened over there, it was a different demographic and it didn't require this much security and policing. And now that the demographics have changed and crime has changed in Jackson, and we know, unfortunately, who commits the most crime in Jackson, and that's the demographic that's going to the bars now, you got to spend more. And, you just hate to see it. They're going to lose these businesses, and they're going to move or go out of business, and you're going to be without the businesses in Jackson. I know some people are like, well, they're bars and restaurants, we got enough, let them go. But these are tax-paying businesses that are going to get screwed here because the police couldn't just do a little bit more while they were on duty, like have a presence. And I'm only hearing from one side of it. In all fairness to JPD, maybe they are doing these things, and this happened in the time that they weren't driving through the parking lot. Let me be fair there and say that. But I'm like Shaun on the coincidences thing. You're kind of run out of coincidences with me. At some point, 2 shootings in 2 months here, and there wasn't a cop in the parking lot either time, and it happened on like a Friday, Saturday night type thing. Yeah, I got a problem with it. I do. I
mean, nothing's happening over. There used to be a bunch of crime at the Kroger over right just down the street right there on frontage, and I don't see that crime happening there because they got a police presence. They do whenever you go over there. So I mean, can't you just translate that over to DeVille Plaza? I mean, I don't. Let's try to do that. I don't know. It seems like a good idea, but I don't know. We can put it towards a study, whatever.
All right, Shaun, you got to dip out, don't you?
Yeah, I got to roll. Thanks, though.
Shaun Yurtkuran, onetextlaw.com. If you need an attorney, or if you F around and you find out, let Shaun help the finding out be a little bit softer on you. Onetextlaw.com. Shaun, we'll holler at you later, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it. See you.
All right, Andrew and I'll be right back after this, another half hour or so. Don't go nowhere. This is the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Yep. Andrew, me and you were just having a conversation off air.
Yep.
Kind of a tough conversation here, but I want to move it to air, and you don't feel obligated to give an opinion on it if you don't want to.
Okay.
So I've been thinking a lot about civil rights, and this has come up a lot with this voting stuff, these redistricting and all that, and watching the fit that black lawmakers and black folks are throwing. And I got a text last night from one of these, angry black organizations trying to rally the troops for a big protest here in Mississippi.
The smoke.
Yeah, the smoke. And first let me read this. This is just the text that came through, and where they were trying to rally for a big day of anger.
Yep.
So it says, "Hey, how the hell they got my number thinking I'd be cool with this? I have no clue, but we're going to use it for content for sure." It says, "Hey, it's Dee Dee with Mississippi votes. The Supreme Court's callous ruling weakened protections against unfair voting maps. Now, keep in mind how they word all this, right? It says it weakened protections against unfair voting maps, making it easier for politicians to redraw districts and weaken representation in Mississippi. Now, they never say black, but it says young people across the state are organizing a day of action on May 20th to push back against voter suppression and fight for fair representation. We need young people ready to show up, bring friends, and take action. Reply yes, and I'll send the link. I should have replied yes. I didn't even think about it. Anyway, so they got a big day of anger coming up. They're going to go protest, I presume, downtown at the Capitol or
tomorrow.
Somewhere. Is it tomorrow?
Yep.
No, it is tomorrow, isn't it? So they got a big day of protest. Of course, I guess they ain't working, so they can go do that on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So, so here's my thing, Andrew. I'm convinced that we need to stop teaching about the civil rights era in schools. If you want to learn about the civil rights era and the slave trade and all of the things that this country did back then, we don't have to pull the books. You can go read the books. You can go take it upon yourself to learn it. Whatever you want to do, that stuff. Knowing that school is built to prepare you for the real world.
It's supposed to.
It's supposed to, right? It's supposed to teach you it's supposed to condition you to get used to sitting in a cubicle or jail 8 hours, 10 hours a day. I mean, it's no mistake that schools look just like prisons now. New schools look just like prisons, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. Anyway, I think it's time that we quit teaching about the racist past of this country to our students, because what it's doing is it's conditioning people to have a built-in excuse for failure, and it's conditioning young black kids, and we're seeing this. I mean, I can pull up the internet. My algorithm all day is young black kids attacking white people and just racist outrage, racism outrage, whatever you want to call it. They're attacking white people, blaming them for everything that like young white people who obviously weren't alive when all these atrocities took place. But it's because they're being conditioned by our government, by these schools, that they were abused by white people, and that any misfortune that may happen in their life, we're giving you an out, we're giving you a boogeyman to blame, and it's the white man. And I don't know how we put that paste back in the tube, other than we start by stop teaching it in these schools, because you have a bunch of angry leftists that are teaching this propaganda, because it's being turned into propaganda is what it's being turned into, and the way it's being taught, especially in these predominantly black schools by predominantly black teachers and left-wing white liberal teachers that just blame everything on white Republicans, even though well documented that it was Democrats that did all this. But they have won the battle of public perception, of public opinion when it comes to that. And I just don't know. I think that's a big start. Is we need to quit teaching this crap in the schools, and hope that we can kind of right the ship a little bit.
There's 7 pillars of society, and one of them is education. And the left wing has completely infiltrated how we educate our kids. And if you've seen it, they've dumbed us down really good since about 1978 is when it really started kicking in. And our kids are coming out not able to read, not able to write, but they are full of emotion and anger and need medication to control it. And it's a complete and total failure of the education system. Those who forget their history are doomed to repeat it. So I don't necessarily want to completely yank everything out, but the way that we're teaching it, the way that we are saying that things are existing in today's society when clearly it's not, we have to go out and we have to have those hard conversations. And there are going to be people out there who have lived their entire lives being told this, and they've never get to self-actualization because they always think they're being held down.
Well, Andrew, we are repeating it. It's just flipped now. The way the blacks are treating whites is as racist or even more violently racist than the way whites were treating blacks in the 60s.
I think it's going to get a lot worse too.
Yeah, well,
before
that's my
it gets
point.
better.
You said we don't need to pull it all the way out because you're doomed to repeat history if you forget it. We're repeating it now.
Well,
because we're beating a narrative into
That's why I'm saying we get off of this aggression, oppression type of Olympics that we're teaching in our schools, and we actually teach what we did, what happened. You got to be truthful about the KKK. You got to be truthful about Democrats. You got to start reading the actual quotes from Lyndon Baines Johnson, which if I read on the air, I'd be gone from WLBT. But we all know what they are.
You mean WYAB?
Or yeah, WLBT was yesterday's news. I'm sorry. Yeah, WYAB. If I said it on WLBT, that would be kicking me off the air too, because we're all tiptoeing around this, and one culture is glamorizing this, and another culture is sitting there saying, "Hey, we're screwing up," and there's this fight that's going on, and we're not winning that war.
All right, hold that thought. I got a graph pulled up on the screen. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read the headline real quick, and when we come back, we're gonna break this down. This is some statistics here that should scare everybody to death, especially if you're in the black community. It says a black child between the ages of 5 to 14 years old is more likely to murder someone than a white guy aged 35 to 64. And I got the stats to back this up. Let's talk about it on the other side of the break here. This is the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 W. Goods in Dogwood. That's El Patrio, Mexican Grill and Cantina. All right, Andrew, let's take a look at this chart here. Somebody sent me this last night, and I didn't get a chance to really peel it back because I was up late doing a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. But so if you're just tuning in, somebody gathered some information, and it says a black child the ages of 5 years old to 14 is more likely to murder someone than a white guy the age 35 to 64. And then it says, genuinely, how do we fix this? No, the only way to fix it is a way that I don't think I can say on the radio. I truly don't. I don't know what the hell we do. I think for starters is we have to quit teaching these people hate. We got to stop teaching them hate and start teaching them love, and that you are accountable for yourself and nobody else is accountable for you. Once you get out from under your parents' home, and once you get old enough to learn the difference in right and wrong. But so let's kind of break these numbers down a little bit. It says white male murderers per 100,000. The age is 15 to 64 is 5.2.
15 to 64?
15 to 64.
Oh,
per 100,000, 5.2 murderers. Hispanic male murderers per 100,000, same age group, 17.4. Here's the crazy one here. Black male murderers per 100,000, 95.5. So for every 100,000 black males, 95.5 of them are murderers.
That's insane.
This is just based on the statistics available. Black females account for more murders per 100,000 than white males in the same age group. Black females are 8.7. White males, who I'm constantly told are the deadliest, most violent group on earth by this other group, is 5.2. Hispanic female, I don't know where Hispanic males went, but Hispanic females, 3.6, and white females, 1.1 per 100,000.
Who was the person who conducted the study? Just kind of curious. Is it like FBI crimes?
FBI numbers from 2021. Now let's check this out. The 5 to 14-year-old age group, white males per 100,000, 0.2.
0.2.
So I don't know how to figure out how many 2.2s you got to have to get to one, but
5.
Yeah, so
500,000 white males from 5 to 14 to have one murder.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hispanic males. Oh, that was the Hispanic males. It was earlier in the chart there. So Hispanic males ages 5 to 14, 0.8. Black males ages 5 to 14, 4.9 per 100,000. Now let's contrast and compare here. White males ages 15 to 64, 5.2 murderers per 100,000. Black males ages 5 to 14, 4.9. Let's just say 5.
Yep.
Let's just call them both 5. 5.2 is 5, right? So you have the same chance of being murdered by a black kid the ages 5 to 14 as you do a white male ages 15 to 64.
That's just
I mean,
insanity.
and the other ones don't even register. Black females in that age group, Hispanic females in that age group, and white females in that age group. There's no data available. Now here's the real deadly group here. It's ages 15 to 24.
Mm-hmm.
White males, it's 8.3 per 100,000. Let's see here. Hispanic males, 28.1 per 100,000.
My goodness.
Here, dude, the black men just own this. They're all red. Black males, ages 15 to 24 per 100,000 murders, 207.4. 207 and a half. What did you say? 207. 207 murders. For every 100,000 black males, 207 of them are murderers in the age group of 15 to 24. My God. And the age groups 35 to 64, 25 to 34, it's 120 of them per 100,000.
That is just, you cannot argue that there's something culturally different between the whites, the blacks, and the Hispanics.
And look, black females are more deadly than white males in those age groups. White male 15 to 24 is 8.3. Black female 16.9.
Double.
25 to 34, white males 7.6. Black females 13.3. I've been noticing this in Jackson when I see the murders and the crime and stuff, and they'll arrest this black girl for a drive-by shooting or this black girl for murder and whatever. I mean, it's crazy. I'm not making this stuff up. So when people constantly attack me, Clay, you only talk about black people killing and this, that, and the other. Man, I talk about what's on the news. And Kim Wade said this the other day, and I've completely stolen it from him. Mm-hmm. I'm a pattern recognition expert. I look at patterns. And now, in fairness, if that's what you want to call it, 2021 was the post-COVID year, and that's when Jackson saw its 165, 175 murders, whatever our highest was as well. There was a huge spike in 2021 coming out of the COVID lockdowns. Mm-hmm. But the black folks didn't handle 2021 well.
That is just really frightening. I mean, it's double. It's double.
First off, what are you doing between the ages of 5 and 14?
I mean, what the hell is going on?
Because we're not talking about just 5 to 14-year-olds. We're talking, I mean, it's 5 of them. So 4.9, 5 for every 100,000 black people, 5 in the age group of 5 to 14 have murdered somebody. Culture rot.
There's no other way to say it.
Bro.
And it's been building for decades.
I don't want this to be true. I don't know what I'm about to say. I don't want this to be true. I'm just playing this forward a little bit here. Like how does this end? Where are we at in 30 years? Where are we at? Where are black people at in 30 years that are partaking in this culture? It ain't good, bro. It ain't good. I'm not going to say what I think it is because I don't want this clipped out and turned against me.
No.
But it ain't good. Society is not going to.
It's not going to.
Society is not going to continue to play victim to this.
We've got to get back to God. I mean, these are godless kids, man, just being raised by godless kids.
I mean, because there's going to be a point where society turns against these people, and they say we're not doing this no more. I don't want to see that happen.
No, we got to be honest with ourselves and say something's not working right in the black community. It's not.
They got to be honest with themselves and fix their community. Because I'm sure somebody in the comment right now is calling us racist for having an honest conversation.
Just pointing out that.
Shut up, you racist. You're not allowed to talk about that. You're not allowed to talk about that. Pointing it out is worse than doing it.
My gosh.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards
That's
Show.
Heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, we're going to end it there for the live stream. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. Hate I didn't get to read more of the comments on this here, but I'm sure they'll live on the internet for a while, so I'll go and find them. Y'all have a blessed day, and stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel. If you're in these urban Democrat areas, the little kids is killers. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. I mean, you got these kids out here, Andrew, killing each other before they've even had any pussy.
That I shouldn't be laughing.
I know that's not your cup of tea to talk about this stuff, but you got dudes that are virgins killing somebody before they've even had a boner, before they've hit puberty.
I'm still finding it really hard to comprehend. Can you actually text me that graph that you got? Because I want to actually do the algebra so I can do the proportionality. And because when you start proportionalizing all that, it's going to look even worse than the numbers here that we're talking over
Oh, yeah,
time.
if those are the FBI numbers, it's actually worse because they've doctored and skewed and they've tried all they can to eliminate race from that from that number. All right, guys, y'all be blessed, man. Stay safe. Salute.
Man almighty.
Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on 103.9 WYAB as we land the plane for the day. Man, don't forget, man, if you guys need a emergency generator hooked up to your home, full home generator, or your breaker box set up where you can just drop a cable out and plug directly into your portable generator, reach out to Cowden Electric, C-O-W-D-E-N, CowdenElectric.com. Buddy Marty and his team, man, they'll come out, they'll get you hooked up. They're an official dealer for coal generators, and they can hook up any other kind you want as well. If you want a Generac or any other brand, they got you covered. They can get that hooked up for you. And again, if you don't want to make the big investment, just pick the essential breakers you want to run and let them drop a cable out to plug into your portable generator so you're not without whatever the essentials are when a storm comes through. Coming up next, you got Mr. Bob's, General Bob's trade show, swap meet, and then you're followed by Andrew Gosser from 10 to noon and Lindsey Beckham from noon to 1. Then Kim Wade will bring us home from 4 to 6 with our local shows here today. And, of course, we got our national stuff in between. If you want to do some advertising on the Clay Edwards Show or any other show on this radio station, reach out to me, clay@wyab.com, clay@wyab.com. I'll be back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I forgot to give away the Bout Time Brawling tickets, so we'll give away 2 pair tomorrow. Y'all be blessed.